everyone, it's Belle here. So good to be here with you again. I'm talking to my friend Paul, and we've got an amazing conversation happening today. How are you, Paul?
I am very well, thank you, Belle, apart from the fact that it's pouring down with rain here in the UK.
Oh,
Not
yes.
nice.
Paul is in the UK and I'm in Australia. So the time difference is pretty long, 8 hours, 9 hours now because we're on daylight
That's right,
saving.
9 hours, yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why I got Paul to speak with me today is because he's got some amazing skills that my women in my tribe would be able to really appreciate it. So Paul, tell us what it is that you do.
Okay, well, I am a mindset coach, a hypnotist, and a healer. So
Wow.
basically, I kind of specialize in helping entrepreneurs and senior level consultants get out of their own way. You know, dealing with things like procrastination, perfectionism, paralysis, all that kind of stuff. Because people, my elevator pitch is really simple. Most people know what they need to do, they just don't do it. So I solved that problem. Because if you think about it, a lot of people, well, most of us, like if you want to lose weight, most people on this planet know how to lose weight. Eat less crap, exercise more. But most people that are overweight are still overweight. So there's an underlying challenge that's stopping them from doing what they need to do to lose the weight. It's the same with people that say they want to be earning 6 or 7 or 8 figures. They know the skills because it's free on the internet, everything pretty much, and yet they don't do it. So what I see myself is I kind of go in and work with the client to figure out what it is, what's holding that, you know, what barrier, what fence, what hurdle, and then eliminate it, get rid of it so they can get off and do what they want.
And does that also apply, for example, because you are a mindset coach, obviously applies to also recovering from any diseases, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've helped people get over drinking too much. I've actually helped people with weight loss, stopping smoking, depression and stuff like that. More on the hypnosis side of things, on the coaching side, but I still do it because the thing we need to understand is that the mind goes where you point it. So let me give you a really simple example. Say you wake up in the morning and you get out of bed and you stub your toe and you go, you can then decide that you're going to have a really bad day because you've stubbed your toe. And guess what? Your brain goes, message received, we're going to have a bad day. Okay, so let's have a bad day. So you're late for work, you get stuck in traffic, or you get a flat tire, or somebody has a go at you at the office because you've decided you're going to have a bad day. Now, let's say you get out of bed, you stub your toe, and you go, ow, that hurt. And you go, and you get on with your day, and you think, I'm going to have a good day. You will have a good day. Now, that's not to say that things won't happen, but you'll be able to deal with them in a much more positive light. So you may still get stuck in traffic, but instead of like steam coming out of you and you getting really mad and really upset, you'll just, turn the radio up and listen to some music. You'll do some breathing exercises. You won't let the day be ruined by one or two little small things. And this is why mindset comes in, because we are led by our minds. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, I hear you. So if a person, for example, who has been diagnosed with a disease or have other chronic diseases or have issues with drinking or gambling as they may, what is the first step that you tell them to do, or what is the main thing?
The first step that anybody has to do when it comes to anything like this is to accept and acknowledge that they have a problem. Say, for example, if you're spending, I met one guy who was spending nearly £1,000, 2,000 Australian dollars a week gambling, and he wouldn't admit that he was doing that. Because well, it's just a bit of fun. It's just something I do to release tension and all this kind of garbage. And I couldn't work with him. I said, look, I can't work with you until you accept that you have a problem. You don't earn enough to cover $1,000 or $2,000 a week in that kind of money. You don't afford that. You can't afford it. You don't have the cash. So until you accept that, then we can, I can't do the work. The day you say to me, Paul, I've got a gambling problem, then we can do the work. But until that moment, there's nothing we can do, because the person is hiding from the issue. I get lots of wives ringing me up and going, Paul, can you help my husband? And I say, look, no, I'm sorry. And they go, why not? You don't even know what the problem is. Well, you're telling me he's got a problem. He's not calling me to say he's got
So
a
they're
problem.
in denial.
It's not even a case of in denial. A lot of guys don't accept that they've got a problem. It's not even like, well, I know I've got a problem, but I'm pretending it doesn't exist. They just, for them, it doesn't exist. You know, guys that's drinking 2 bottles of wine a night, for him, that's normal. So when his wife calls me and goes, my husband's drinking 2 bottles of wine a night, I say, well, okay, look, you know, does he accept he's got a problem? He says, no, for him, it's just normal. There's no way I can help that person until they go, you know what? Yeah, 2 bottles of wine a night is too much. I need to sort it out. Then we can do the work. But until that moment, there's nothing anybody can do.
So once they have accepted they have a problem, what is their next step?
Okay, then we find out, because usually the problem is just the symptom. Like if you get a cold, your nose runs and you might get a sore throat. They're the symptoms of the cold. They're not the illness. So if you're drinking too much or you're gambling or you're too heavy, there is an underlying cause. Now, a lot of the times it goes back to something that happened in the past.
Right.
You know, maybe you got bullied at school, or maybe you got fired from lots of jobs because you weren't a particularly nice person when you were younger. It could be all sorts of things. Maybe you suffered some abuse. Maybe you had an accident. Maybe your parents didn't love you enough. It could be lots and lots of things. So my job is to kind of be an explorer with the client. We kind of like go hacking through the jungle of the memories to find out what the one thing is that's attached all this baggage around itself that's causing this problem. And then once we've found that, we can then start working on eliminating it. And once we've eliminated it, we can start putting in some better habits.
Right. And so from then accepting it and then hacking through the actual reason, not just the symptoms, then you'd be able to work with that person.
Yeah, let me give you an example. I had a client a couple of years ago, and she rang me up. Well, she was a recommendation from a friend, and this lady rang me, said, look, Paul, I need your help. So what's the problem? She said, I don't know, 45, and I'm really grossly overweight, and I'm smoking 2 packets of cigarettes a day, and I need to stop because it's just, you know, bad for my health, blah, 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 blah. And so we talked a little bit, and I took her on as a client. Long story short, we found out together that several years ago, 10, 15 years ago, she'd had the second of 2 really bad relationships with narcissists. You know, she was physically abused, verbally abused, and all kinds of nasty things. So once she got out of that relationship, she kind of said to herself, that's it, I've had it with men. I don't want to be with men anymore. I don't want to be with a man. I don't want to be in a relationship. So the brain heard this, the subconscious mind heard this, and kind of said to itself, okay, what do I do to make sure that I don't get into a relationship? And one way to do that is to be as obnoxious and ugly and do nasty things to make yourself not attractive. And that's what she did. She smoked loads, so that's not an attractive thing to do. And she ate loads and loads and loads of food. So she put on lots and lots of weight. And in her own words, she didn't look very nice. And that worked. That was a shield she put around herself so guys didn't approach her. And so for several years, she didn't have a relationship. And we got talking about it. She said, look, Paul, I want to have a relationship. And I said, well, you know what's happened before? Yeah. So we found out the root cause, which was these bad relationships she'd been in. So we dealt with that. We then got her into stopping smoking and changing her eating habits.
Yes.
And then we found out what she'd been attracted to in guys before. And one of the biggest problems with people that get into toxic relationships is they like the bad boys, you know. And what it is about bad boys, it's that they're self-confident, they're not afraid, they what's the one I'm looking? They're assertive, they put themselves out there. Whereas nice boys are always like needy. Oh, would you come up for me with a drink? You know, oh, you look really nice, and all that kind of stuff, yeah. And so she said to me, that's the kind of person she'd been attracted to, the bad boy. And unfortunately, bad boys have a lot of bad habits and bad traits that go with it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we looked at what she liked in a guy, and we kind of pulled out all the good bits and pushed away all the bad bits, and kind of put those in her mind to start looking at when she was meeting people. And now 2 years later, she's in a really nice relationship with a really sweet guy. She's lost loads of weight, and she hasn't smoked a cigarette in more than 2 years.
That's amazing. Because
It is.
With breast cancer, there is so much study done that obesity does not help or produces or promotes diseases in our body. And one of them could be breast cancer, amongst other things like heart disease and stroke and all sorts of things. And so that's why when I tell my ladies as well in my tribe, I say, you need to control your weight. And it's easy said than done, isn't it? Because as you have said, as you have just clearly explained, that there's so many underlying factors under those reasons of why they eat the wrong things and why they smoke or why they attract bad men, right? So there's so many issues, underlying issues from the fact that they're just overeating, right? So that's an amazing story. Tell me more about, so if a lady is overeating, like you said, like the lady that you have helped, and I said to my, some of my ladies in my tribe, they're just eating the wrong things. They just, they know how to eat the right things like fruit and not so much dairy or meat or whatsoever. And yet they don't have the strength, right? To overcome it. It's because you're saying that there are underlying issues.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about having the strength or the willpower. That's kind of like a false assumption. You have to figure out what it is that is so attractive about eating crappy food.
Right.
Is it because, let's say I was 5 stone overweight, so I had 200 pounds overweight, yeah?
Right.
Because I lived on takeouts and crappy food and stuff like that. Maybe I don't know how to cook. Maybe I think I don't have time to cook. Maybe I'm with a partner who likes eating crappy food. So to make her feel good, I eat the crappy food as well. Yeah. Maybe my family lived on crappy food when I was a kid, so I don't know any better. There's lots of those kind of reasons, plus the underlying reason. So what we need to do is, if you want to do this yourself, you've got to figure out what it is. Why are you attracted to chocolate bars? Is it comfort food? Do you feel good after eating a bar of chocolate or drinking 2 bottles of wine? I mean, if I drink that much wine, I get really headache and feel sick, so I can't do it. Yeah, so I'm lucky in that respect. But we need to figure out what it is that's attractive about eating crappy food. Now, a lot of people say, I don't have time to cook. Well, you do have time. It's about organizing yourself. Like a really, really stupid thing. Sunday afternoons, you could prep a whole week's worth of meal. That's what I do. I love cooking. I love cooking, but I live alone. So I'm not going to cook elaborate meals for myself. So what I do is on a Sunday, or when I've got, when I make the time, I will batch cook something like a chili con carne, as an example, yeah? And then cook that, and then I will break it down into portions, and I put it in the freezer, and then that's my meal done for a week. And all I have to do is, when I have the time, I just take it out of the freezer in the morning, it defrosts, and then, add a bit of rice, and 15 minutes, my meal's ready.
Yeah, I know. That's what I do too. I prep for at least Monday to Thursday. So and then,
But the most important thing is to figure out what it is. What's the reason why you're eating all this crappy food? Yes. And it could be that, maybe you've had a really bad day, and that's, alcohol is bad for you. So you eat loads of crappy food because that feels not as bad.
Yes.
Yeah? So, okay, then you go, okay, why did I have a crappy day? Well, people, my boss shouted at me. Okay, why did your boss shout at you? And really break it down. Like if you're doing a math problem. If you're doing a math problem, you take all the components, don't you? And you break it down to the simplest bits, and then you kind of work out your answer. But it's the same with this kind of stuff. You just break it all down until you find out what it is, and then you can deal with it.
It's being more self-aware of what's really going on in your life.
Yeah, being self-aware. Also, it's about looking at where you've come from and what's led you to where you are. Maybe you've
Right.
just come out of a crappy relationship. Maybe you're in a relationship and your partner doesn't give you any attention.
Right.
So you eat because that makes you feel warm inside. Whereas
Yes.
if your partner was giving you attention, you wouldn't need to eat the food. So
Okay.
there's lots of different things.
Mm.
And you've got to kind of just sit down and take the time to work out what it is. I mean, that's why people hire coaches, because coaches can sit down with you and help you see what either you can't see or you're not willing to see.
Yes. So Paul, tell me, with the ladies in my group, one of the biggest area that they tackle or have to get over is the fact that they have so much fear, that they give too much credence and power to the C word, which is cancer. And so for me, I have been sharing with my tribe, and I say that I don't give that power to the C word. I don't give it that much energy. What I give my energy to is what I can control, which is, exercising and where I want my compass to go, what I want to achieve in the next 6 months. And so how do you help women, or how could you help women who have been if they've come to you and say, Paul, I've been diagnosed with breast cancer, I want my mindset to be right, so that I can defeat and beat and reverse this disease, what would you say to them?
Okay, well, the first thing to say is if you're frightened, it's perfectly normal. You've just been diagnosed with something that's really, really scary. Yeah. And most of us say it's never going to happen to me. So you've also kind of got to get over that, oh shit, it has happened to me. And there's all this like, what do I do now? And oh my God, who do I tell? And am I going to live? And, all this kind of stuff. So the thing to do is, okay, right, I'm scared. Accept that you're frightened. There's nothing wrong with being frightened.
Yes.
And then once you've accepted that, then is the time to look at your options and your alternatives and what you can actually do. Like you said a second ago, Belle, what can I control? Like, for example, you can go and talk to your doctor and she can kind of talk you through all the options and different treatments and therapies and, potential things that you can do, things that you can do to help yourself, things that the medical world can do to help you. And then is to accept that you have got it. Because you can't wake up one morning and go, oh, it's gone away, because that doesn't work like that. I wish it would. You could sprinkle some magic fairy dust over yourself and it would disappear, but that doesn't work. So accept that you have got cancer. Okay.
Yes.
Don't be afraid of the word. It's just a word.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, be frightened. That's fine. That's perfectly normal. But then start to look at your options and see what you can do to make your life better. With whatever time, even if they say, we're really sorry, it's very, very serious, you might not see another 12 months. Okay. Well, at least there are so many people walking around today that will die and weren't expecting to. A car crash or a sudden heart attack or a brick falls off a roof and hits them on the head. Yeah. They didn't know. They didn't know it was going to happen to them.
Yes.
Okay. So at least okay, I've got 12 months. So you excuse my language, but you do what the fuck you like for those 12 months. You go around the world, you go and work with elephants, you go swimming every day, you take all your clothes off and have as much sex as you possibly can. You do whatever you want to do. But don't sit, yes, you could sit there and go, oh my God, I've only got 12 months to go, oh my God, I've only got 11 months to go. And before you know it, your life is over. And all you've done is sat there and feel sorry for yourself. Now, I'm not being nasty here. I'm saying with whatever time any of us have left, we live our best life. And so you get all the information you can, you get all the resources you can, and you do what the hell you need to do to make your life as comfortable as possible. And if you're able to beat it, then do what you need to do to beat it. Like Belle said, you've got choices to make those choices. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing you need to do is you must make the choices. You've got to take responsibility. Don't ring Belle and go, Belle, please tell me which one I should do, because Belle can't do that. Your doctor can't do that. Your husband, your best friends can't do that. Take responsibility for your actions. Yeah, your life will be a lot better. You'll be a lot happier up here if you start taking responsibility for your actions. If the doctor says quit drinking, then quit drinking.
Yes.
If the doctor says start getting exercise and eat eat better, then start doing that.
Yes.
Because if you don't, you're either flatlining, as in not improving the situation, or you could make the situation worse.
Right.
If you don't do what the doctor's advice.
Or stressing, or
or you'll be stressing out, and stress is not good.
No.
Yeah. We need to do what we can to relieve stress as much as possible. So,
sure.
Yes, be frightened, accept that you've been diagnosed with cancer. And then if you want to use this word, I don't really like this word much, but fight back, because fight denotes aggression and all that. I'm not talking about the aggressive thing. I'm talking about, when I say fight back, is don't lie down and take it.
Yes.
Do whatever you can to see your way through this.
Yes.
I've got a podcast, and I've interviewed several survivors of cancer and other illnesses, and each one tells me the same kind of story, that they got the diagnosis, they were scared, they were frightened, they didn't know what to do, but then one day they kind of said, that's it, I'm taking control now, and I'm going to do what I need to do. And they come out the other end.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing. In all of this is take control of what's going up in here, because this is the only thing that we can control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I've always been fascinated with hypnotism, but I don't really understand what it is. I used to work with a lady, and she's a real fitness fanatic, but she couldn't give up smoking. And so she went to a hypnotist, and she overcame it. So what is it? And tell me, how does it actually work?
That's a very, very interesting question, Belle, because even today, even though they've done lots of scientific studies and all kinds of things, we are still not certain what hypnosis is. Some people say it's a kind of like a state where you're kind of like half asleep, half awake. Some people say it's where your rational brain, the bit that's listening to me now, completely lets go and subconscious mind goes forward. Some people say that there's actually no such thing as hypnosis, and basically it's about permission. Right? We've all seen stage hypnosis shows on the TV where the hypnotist pulls people onto the stage, and then people do silly things on the stage. Yeah.
Yes.
The person goes back into the audience, and their friends go, "Oh, you were taking that like tomato sauce, and you thought it was like suntan cream and all this." No. The hypnotist made me do it. Basically, we all have parts inside of us that we want to let out. Yeah. Even if you're an introvert, there's the bit that wants to take all your clothes off and run around on stage, go, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. But we don't do that. So if you go to a hypnosis show, the hypnotist says, some volunteers, and you think, yeah, your subconscious, oh, this is our chance to really let it out, Then you put your hand up, you get hypnotized, and the hypnotist gets you doing all kinds of silly things, yeah? And you have a really, really good time. But when you get back to your friends, you go, oh, the hypnotist made me do it, because you don't want to tell your friends that's how you really feel inside.
Really?
Yeah. So It's like with smoking. Everybody knows how to stop smoking. There's patches, there's willpower, there's all kinds of things.
The vape.
Yeah. There's cold turkey, there's vaping, and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. With a hypnotist, what you're doing basically is you're giving me permission to tell you to stop smoking.
Right.
Because I can't do it on my own. Well, you could do it on your own. You just haven't found the right bit, See, a lot of this is about finding the right reason. Like the lady I spoke about earlier on, she wanted to get back into a relationship, and she couldn't work out how she'd got so big and was still smoking. She didn't know that her subconscious mind had set this shield that has set this up, and so she started eating loads and smoking loads more. She didn't know this consciously. The subconscious knew it. So it's my job to work with her to find that. Yeah. So I didn't stop her smoking. She stopped herself smoking. I was just the facilitator, like a doorman. I opened the door so that she could walk in.
Right.
Yeah? And this is all about, connecting with the subconscious mind. So I gave her permission to stop smoking, or essentially, because I've worked with people and I've done hypnosis with them, and some have gone and they're like completely out for the count. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other people are going, I can still hear the traffic, Paul. I can still hear the traffic. Yeah. And yet I still get a good result. And I use something as well sometimes called conversational hypnosis, where I can be having a conversation with someone, and then we're talking about the problem, and all of a sudden they'll just go, and then their brains start processing what we've been talking about, and then they come out and the problem's been resolved.
Wow.
So it's a lot of different things, a lot of different people. Can everybody be hypnotized? Yes, if you've got the time and the resources. All the world's military has spent lots and lots of money on figuring out how to brainwash people. Yeah. And it can be done.
Wow.
But you need lots of time and lots of resources and lots of, unpleasant things you need to do, but it's doable.
Yes.
But can the ordinary person in the street be hypnotized? Yes, if they want a result.
Right.
If somebody goes, well, like this is why I don't hypnotize husbands unless they come to me first, because I've got a problem, mate.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to work because I've got a problem. Working with someone like that is very, very, very difficult, because basically they've put a shutter down across their mind, and there's no way in. They don't want to let you in.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why it's just, you're wasting lots and lots of time. That's why they have to accept they have a problem, they need help. Because when they do that, then the shutter comes up and you can do the work.
That's so very, very interesting, because it's the same when I counsel or I coach or mentor other ladies, and the shutters are down in terms of their openness to other ways of healing themselves, not just conventionally, right? And when the shutters are down, it's very hard. I'm not here to convince, because I already know it works, but it's for them to realize that it would work for them too. And what I can hear from you saying is that when people are wanting to recover or wanting to beat this disease, they need to find the bigger why, as to why do they really want to be healed, and why are they not open to the thought or to the teachings of others, and others that had gone before them that had healed and beat this disease through holistic way as well. So many victimized people, or they have a sense of that they are a victim of this disease, and you're right, in a sense the shutters are down.
Yeah, the thing to do is to ask yourself, not why have I got this or why me or anything like that, because you're just causing yourself stress. How can I get over this? Or how can I find the best treatment that suits me? How can I do my best to survive this? What are the ways? What are options? What are treatment alternatives? And I'm not talking about the really, really wacky stuff where somebody waves their hands and, pulls a bit of chicken thing out of you. But there are stuff that you can do, like mindfulness and meditation and eating right and cutting down, all that kind of stuff that does work. But the challenge is that you could do all of that, but if your mind says, oh, I'm only doing it because the doctor says, and I've cut down the wine, that's really boring, and I'm eating all this healthy food, and that's really boring, and I'm meditating, boring. Yeah, if you've got that attitude, that's why it does. That's why some people say, well, I tried all this stuff and it didn't work. Well, because you didn't want it to.
You dabbled in it.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people say, well, what about the lady who's 95 years old and smokes 20 packets, 20 fags a day and drinks like a fish? Well, she's called an outlier. There are people at both ends of the scale that for some reason their body's been able to deal with it.
Yes.
But that's the uncommon, that's the rare.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they're called outliers. But the bulk of people in the middle here are the ones that suffer with it. So you need to find out what it is that's going to help you to get through it. Could it be that you want to see your granddaughter get married or your daughter get married? Could it be that you want to finish your university degree? Could it be that you want to help other people to survive and get through things? Could it be that you do want to travel around the world? Could it be that you want to spend 6 months in Thailand or Nepal helping underprivileged people? Find the reason that you want to get through this.
Yes.
Once you found that reason, your brain goes, wow, that's a great reason. Let's do what we need to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will help you. Now, it might not necessarily cure you, but it will make your life better. Yeah. That's the important thing. It's about quality of life. Even if you had the worst diagnosis possible, yeah, it's about the quality of your life. Yeah.
That's for sure. I hear you. Yeah. So when you start also thinking of possibilities, there's some wiring in your brain that actually ignites and gives you purpose, more purpose. And then once you have purpose, you make a plan, and once you make a plan, you do it. So yeah, you're right. Your brain is like this, magnetic energy that once you start thinking of possibilities and options, it gives you a better quality of life.
Yeah. To be honest with you, Belle, I don't like the word purpose because that seems like it's like a religious thing, oh my God, I must have a purpose in my life. But don't use that word. You just use thing. Yeah. This is the thing that really turns me on. The idea of going to build that school in Africa, the idea of working with, doing art therapy, teaching people art therapy, the idea of seeing my daughter walk down the aisle, the idea of this, the idea of being able to hold my grandchild. Find out what your thing is, what really, really you would give anything for.
Right.
Yeah? And then that's what you can use as you remember the old story about the carrot and the stick, yeah? To keep a donkey going, you have a stick with a bit of string and a carrot, and you dangle it in front of the donkey, and the donkey chases the carrot, and he never gets it until the end of the day. Yeah, because it's the journey that matters.
Yes.
This is why I'm saying that it's from where you are now to the end of our days, the end of your days, the end of my days, is how you choose to live those. And if you've got a thing, yeah, it's just much more fun. It's just much more exciting. It's just much more stimulating. Yeah. Whereas if you don't have a thing, you're just kind of like a hamster on a treadwheel, just going around and around, using up all that energy and not getting anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Focus your energy on something more that what is your thing for. I was going to say more purpose, but that's my word, right? For you.
Yeah, that's your word. That's fine.
Yeah, for sure. That's so amazing. It's been such an eye opener. What you've been sharing about hypnotism and finding out the underlying reasons of why people do things, right? And I guess I was sharing with you the other day about our podcast together, how I thought I was the greatest candidate, I was a candidate for breast cancer. It's because of the fact that I was living all these things that have been putting all the strain all these things that I've put my body through, the stress, the wrong eating, my mindset was wrong, toxic relationship, toxic atmosphere in my house as well, all these toxicities, So I agree with you in a sense that the reason why I believe that I got breast cancer was the fact that I was doing all these wrong things, and I had to recalibrate. I have to actually start thinking, why did I get breast cancer? And I have to really assess my own way of living, of why this happened to me, because it just did not happen. I made it happen, and if I made it happen, then I can reverse it in a sense. And that's what I've been doing.
I don't know if you made it happen, but it's like if you spill milk on a surface, yeah, and you leave it, over time, mold will grow and insects will come and eat. So you made the conditions right to have all this nasty stuff happening
Correct.
because you didn't clean the milk up straight away. And so if we don't look after our bodies, then we are leaving ourselves open to stuff happening. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, when we're young, we all do it. Unless you're like a world-class athlete, we all drink too much, eat the wrong food, because when you're young, it doesn't show.
Yeah.
Unless you really, really go to excess. Yeah. As we
Yes.
mature, it kind of sticks around. You start to get the hangovers, you start to put the weight on. This is the time when you've got to go, look, if I carry on this way, I'm leaving myself to open to stuff happening, like
Yes.
heart disease, like liver problems, like cancer. There's
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff that we are leaving ourselves open to. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you can live a healthy life and still get an illness. Yes, but
Yes.
you're reducing the chances,
the possibilities.
the possibilities, by living right. And even now, whatever age you are, you can still, it's not too late to kind of turn things around and help yourself. You may not get rid of the problems altogether, but by starting to do the right kind of stuff, by going for walks, by drinking a bit more water and cutting down on the booze, all the by starting to do those things, you start to help your body help you.
Yes.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, it's the law of sowing and reaping. That's what I think of it. Whatever it's been you sowing, that's the fruit, of what you receive at the end. So if some of our ladies would like to touch base with you, where could they contact you and the work that you do?
Okay, well, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I've just started a TikTok account as well, which is a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, well, it's not all twerking and dancing around. It's just an interesting way because it's actually a growth area. My main kind of age bracket of people that I tend to work with are women kind of from about 35 to 50.
Yes.
And in the TikTok world, that's the market that's growing.
Is it?
So a lot of my potential clients are there. So Paul Wilson Coaching is the best place to look for me. And obviously, I'm guessing in the show notes,
we'll put down the link at the end of this video, and so that people can reach out to you to find out more of your work, if that's all right.
One other thing, if you don't mind, Belle, I do have a podcast, I mentioned it earlier, called A Happy Head Podcast, and that's on all the major, it's on iTunes and Apple and
Spotify.
Amazon and Spotify, and it's also on YouTube. And the reason I'm mentioning it is that there's lots of people, there's probably about 70 episodes where I've spoken to lots of people who've struggled and gone from adversity to get through adversity to coming out the other side. Gone through really hard, so gone through toxic relationships. There's one lady I spoke to, she left the house with her 2 kids and the clothes they had on their back. This was 20 years ago, and now she runs 3 successful businesses. She travels around the world. Another lady, 16 or 17 years ago, she suffered with a mystery disease, and the doctors told her she would only live for 5 years. That was 16 years ago. And
isn't it amazing how the doctors make pronouncement like that as if they're gods?
Well, yeah, but it's based on the information that they have. I'm not knocking the medical profession at all, but it's just a highlight that she changed her lifestyle completely. Yeah? Yes. There's a couple of other ladies there that have struggled with cancer and come out the other side. There's a whole range of people that have struggled with stuff.
Yes.
And come out the other side. So if that's the kind of thing you want to, hear about, then head over to the podcast. Yeah,
for sure. We'll put the link down on my YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, of where they could reach you. So it's been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Belle. It's been great. Lovely conversation. Appreciate it.
I'm always fascinated with your work. So hopefully we'll get to chat soon.
I'd like that. Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right. Bye for now. Have a good day. Thank you.